What is the origin of Japanese people? Where did they come from? And when did they land in Japan? I recently did a significant amount of research on finding out the roots of Japanese. I discovered that the new DNA technology has revealed the intricate stories of Japanese people going back tens of thousands of years, and it's really fascinating. This is a YouTube series called Tale of Japan. In this series, we will discover Japan's history, law, and myth. Historically, the first era of Japanese history is called Paleolithic Period. Japan's Paleolithic period began when the first Homo sapiens landed in Japan. This was about 40,000 years ago. Although we do not know much about the Paleolithic period, this period lasts from 40,000 years to 14,000 years ago. So, what about before the Paleolithic era? There were several discoveries of remains in Japan that date back more than 100,000 years ago, in which they have found tools made of stone. These are before the time of Homo sapiens came to Asia. This is the evidence that archaic humans, meaning they are pre-Homo sapien beings, were already inhabited Japan. Although they did go extinct way before the time the first Homo sapiens landed in Japan. In the last episode, we went through where and how did the first Homo sapiens come to Japan, so make sure to check it out. Japan's Paleolithic period is followed by the Jomon period, which lasted for 10,000 years, from 14,000 to 300 before Common Era. As I said in the last episode, I'm finding out that the Jomon period is the origin of all the Japanese culture, and amongst young people in Japan, there is a movement to try to go back to the Jomon spirit to revitalize Japan. So I will be covering all the things I can find about the Jomon period of Japan in the coming episodes, because I feel that there is so much wisdom we can all learn from and apply to our lives. But today, I want to introduce you to the recent discovery about Japanese people. These discoveries were made by the new DNA technology. In 2022, Svante Pääbo, a Swedish scientist renowned for his pioneering work in the field of evolutionary genetics, particularly in the study of ancient DNA, received the Nobel Prize for his work. Pääbo's innovative techniques for isolating and sequencing degraded DNA opened new possibilities for investigating the genetics history of extinct species and ancient human populations. From this new DNA technology, scientists have made some discoveries about the origin of Japanese. There were two major things. First, there were mainly three routes which first people came to Japan, and that these group of people knew how to cross the oceans between continents using some kind of ship. First group of Homo sapiens came from the south, originally from the region where the Thailand is now. This was about 40,000 years ago. The second group came from the north. This was about 35,000 years ago. These are the same group of people who originated from Thailand, but went up north through China and Russia, and eventually came down to Japan later. Then the third group of people came from the west, where Korea is now. This was about 15,000 years ago. Eventually, these groups of people started to settle in Japan, creating what is known as the Jomon culture. The Jomon era lasted 10,000 years without any sign of conflict or war. Toward the end of Jomon era, there were another group of people migrated to Japan. These people were different from Jomon people, carrying different type of DNA. They brought with them rice harvesting culture and Japanese language. Slowly but surely, the Yayoi people were mixed with Jomon people, and this era is called Yayoi Period. Yayoi Period lasted about 700 years between 300 before Common Era to the year 400. Then another set of people migrated again to Japan from a region of Eastern Asia around the time of the year 250, and these people are called the Kofun people. Yayoi period was followed by the Kofun period, which lasted 238 years from the year 300 to the year 538. The year 538 is the year that Buddhism was introduced to Japan for the first time, and that marked the start of another era called the ASA Era, which lasted 172 years from the year 538 to 710. At this time, people in Japan must have looked all different still, but eventually it all mixed up and you see a similar look of modern Japanese now. However, even today, the two kinds of Japanese look slightly different. These are Japanese people in Okinawa and Ainu people in Hokkaido. While most Japanese only possess 10% of Jomon DNA, Japanese in Okinawa possess 30% of Jomon DNA, and Ainu Japanese possess up to 70% of Jomon DNA. Geographic and cultural isolation kept their Jomon DNA intact through centuries. So to sum it up, there were mainly three routes in which Jomon people landed in Japan, and after the Jomon people, there were a Yayoi migration from West Asia and a Kofun migration from East Asia. Today's modern Japanese DNA is mainly composed of these three kinds of people's DNA. So this is the origin of Japanese people, but new discoveries are coming left and right these days, uncovering the intricate history of Japan. If you look at each era of Japanese history, the Jomon era is the longest by far, spanning more than 10,000 years, and 10,000 years without a trace of any war or violent conflict. So next episode of the Tale of Japan series, I'm gonna deep dive into the world of Jomon era. This was the volume 2 of the series Tale of Japan. I will be covering all the history, law, and myth of Japanese culture through this series. Alright dreamers, I'll be back soon. I hope you have a great day and take a step closer to your dreams.